Well, hey everybody to the internet's favorite movie-centric list-making podcast. It is 1021. I am one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by the ever-present and never not Jen.
Hey there. Sorry that we weren't available last week. Technical issues, health issues. I don't know. I feel like I could just put up a list of, hey, here's why we didn't podcast last week, and we could
Totally
just,
record.
choose. Yeah. But we're here. We're here, and uh, I almost. Well, never mind. I won't even go into that. Let's just say I'm really happy to be here.
I'm also happy to be here because, as we all know, making lists is one of my favorite things to do. I am so weird.
I feel like this is a thing though. I mean, making lists is sort of the way to figure out what's the best, but also it's also like a really good way of just sort of, saying, yeah, here's a list. Because let me tell you, I make shopping lists all the time and I never figure out whether my shopping lists are for me, for somebody else, or just sort of like a thing that you do because that's what's expected of you. I'm not sure how that kind of all comes together, but yeah, let's just say lists are good. Lists are good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Sorry. Um, we're getting started a little bit earlier than usual tonight, so that means I'm, sitting here, got a drink in hand, and I'm staring at a bowl of lasagna that's like just itching to be eaten.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt your dinner? Darn it.
No, yes, but no, it's all good because we have a wonderful list tonight, I think. And why don't you tell the kids about that list, Jen?
Uh, all right, Krusty Crew, I'm going to tell you about this list, and it's cool. It's very cool. This time, we decided to come up with a list of 10 movies that have iconic one liners in them. And by one liners, I guess I'm not like sticking so much to the hey, it can only be, you know, 2 words, 4 words, 5 words, whatever. It's a phrase. It is definitely a phrase. So for me, this list is all the phrases in movies that I find the most the coolest. Maybe not the most compelling because they're not exactly compelling, but they're things that like I say all the time, or they're things that I quote all the time, or that kind of stuff. And the one nice thing about one-liners in a movie is everybody has like a different list of what one-liners they like in their movies or that they quote. And honestly, it varies from family to family, person to person. So there's no wrong list for this. It's just here's what Josh and Jen came up with as their list.
All of mine are from silent movies.
Oh, hey, that's great.
Is that going to be an issue?
Not at all. No, just lay them on us. We'll see what happens.
All right, then. Here's a little spoiler for my number one. It goes like this.
Oh, that's such a good
I
one.
know, right?
That is so good. Yeah, I can't wait to get through all of your list. Man, we're
Break
going to be
that
done
down.
in record time.
So, how about you go ahead and get us started with number one, and I will listen.
Okay, well, I'll tell
Or
you
number
what.
10. Number 10.
I'll start with my number 10. I'm going to start with my number 10 even though honestly this is one of my most favorite movies, and just so that you know, I know nobody asked for this information, but since this is my number 10 movie, I just thought I'd let everybody know that there are officially 65 days left until Christmas. Yes, 65 days, 3 hours, 32 minutes and 16 seconds. So, you know, don't ask me how I know that. I may or may not have a Halloween countdown. I mean, Christmas Eve countdown. I also have a Halloween one, but Christmas. All right. So my number 10, keeping in the Christmas theme, is this one. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. Okay. Now, Why do I love that one so much? First of
Oh,
all,
hold
because
on. Can I interrupt quick?
yes.
When we say our one-liners, can the other person try to guess what it's from?
Oh, absolutely.
Sounds like a fun way to go about things.
Well, you know it's a Christmas movie, so where does "Bye, Buddy, Hope You Find Your Dad" come from?
I'm glad you asked because that is from Elf,
It is from Elf.
and it's from the
Yes,
Narwhal,
it is Mr. Narwhal.
voiced by
Absolutely.
Jon Favreau, the director.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Sorry, I
indeed.
hope I didn't steal any of your thunder there.
You did not. In fact, Jon Favreau is one of my favorite directors in directors slash writers in Hollywood right now. Excuse me, doing all kinds of things from Mandalorian to, well, let's just say that his repertoire is very diverse and very busy right now. But he also does an amazing podcast, which is just super awesome to listen to. You should definitely listen to it. But yes, this was a long time ago in the days when Jon Favreau was barely known, and Elf became an oddly iconic and almost cult status movie, not just around Christmas, but at all times of the year. Um, every time that I walk into a store and they start setting out Christmas stuff, you always see Elf merchandise because it's just that kind of movie. It has staying power. It's a lot like Home Alone or yeah, okay, Die Hard. I mean, all the great Christmas movies. It really does have a lot of staying power. Bye, Buddy, Hope You Find Your Dad obviously refers to Buddy setting off on his journey to find his dad from the North Pole, going to New York City, and the wacky adventures along the way. I have to say that Elf, just as there's a million quotable lines in Elf. We say a lot of them all the time. But Bye Buddy, Hope You Find Your Dad is definitely one of those when we just, it's like a thing to say when you just, when somebody's just off doing something and you don't really have like a retort to say, so you just say that. We use it all the time. I love this movie. It seemed like a good number 10. So, number 10 from Elf, Mr. Narwhal, to Buddy. Yeah, hope you guys like that one. Can't wait to hear what you come up with, Josh. What's your number 10?
Well, my number 10 is, I think, a classic that doesn't get much recognition for being a thing.
Hmm.
So, without further ado, here's my rendition of the line. And if I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
I know exactly what this movie is. It is The Truman Show. It is absolutely a wonderful film, and I feel like it was way ahead of its time. Before social media was a huge thing, The Truman Show really showed us what social media could kind of, why it could be so insidious. Awesome choice. I love it.
Now, the reason I chose it, because this is, when you really just watch the movie, sure, it comes off as just this little greeting from this guy that don't know nothing about nothing, right? But, if you stop to think about it, this guy has been, I hate to use the term, but groomed to be the sort of ideal person, as far as manners and, politeness. And it eventually gets to the point where, it drives him nuts, more or
Mm-hmm.
less, because no matter how well things go, it's that underlying instinct of being a person that makes it all seem a little too good to be true. So this greeting is sort of it's the how do I put this? It's his words to the world every day, and it shines a light on what's expected of him versus how he actually feels inside, why it's so different, and why there's conflict.
Right.
Or I'm just reading way too much into an awesome line. Either way, that is why the Truman Show is my number 10.
That's a great line, and I have to say that also I think it's one of my more favorite movies. It does not get nearly as much accolades as I think it should. So yeah, I think that's a great choice, and there's a lot of great lines in that movie too. I don't know if you'll be able to guess my number 9, although I suspect that you being the fan you are, will probably know this one. The line goes like this. So, this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. Can you guess where that's from?
I should be. It's man.
Everybody knows this line when I say it, but where is it from? Like everybody
That's
knows the line.
uh, uh, it
I'll I'll
is
I'll give you I'll give you a
Star
hint.
Wars.
Yes, Star Wars.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yes. It is Revenge of the Sith. It's Natalie Portman. And okay, so the reason that I actually chose this one is uh, uh, okay, well, I chose this movie because one, the movie itself has a lot of really great quotable lines. Um, um, the movie itself has a lot of really great quotable lines. Sorry, I got in the middle of something. But the other reason that I chose this one is because this particular line altogether really gives me the overall sense of what Revenge of the Sith is kind of all about. Like the iconic line that's in it works in so many different ways. You know, people quote this line a lot, or they misquote it and say something a little bit different. But it really is kind of like it's a statement piece all by itself. And Revenge of the Sith makes me feel like this is what it's all about. The idea that your liberty is that you're basically cheering for the end of liberty is is sort of an oddly universal thing, and it exists even so far into the future because this is what we do. This is how we live. This is how we organize. This is the state of human affairs or non-human affairs. This is a state of civilized affairs even so far into the future. And it really kind of makes me feel like, yeah, there's something very universal with universal appeal here. So I chose this not just because lots of people quote it, but because it really does, as a quotable line, it really makes the movie, it really showcases what the movie is all about. So, Revenge of the Sith, Natalie Portman as Padme, and just I just got to say that Padme, that Queen Amidala as a character, is actually like one of my most favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. I know a lot of people don't like her, but I did. I really thought that was a good character. So, number 9, that was mine. I feel like most of the movie quotes in my list you'd be able to tell because I didn't really choose anything that was like obscure. Almost everything in my list is very knowable. I can't see how you wouldn't know these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay. By the way, just wanted to make just a quick little um adjustment there. Star Wars does take place in the past.
oh, sorry. My bad. I do that all the time.
Yeah, I just wanted to, before the film buffs out there or the Star Wars nerds start bringing the pitchforks. just wanted to make sure that point of clarification was put out there. See, we're on your side, nerds.
It even says in the scroll, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Sorry.
So where are we at? My number 9?
You're number 9.
All right. Making some minor adjustments as we go. My number 9 is not only iconic in its words, but also its timing and its gravitas as far as, well, I'll explain that in a second. And it's going to be very easy to figure out what movie it's from. So, are you ready?
Ready.
The line is, I am Iron Man.
Okay. So, I'm guessing that it's Tony Stark.
It is.
Okay. Yay. Well, I guessed it.
Yes, you did. I'm gonna say, just for the sake of because it does come up twice in as far as iconic moments in Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. The first being in Iron Man, the second being in Avengers Endgame. I brought up and added to the list Iron Man, even though the second one has more of a oh my god, this is full circle kind of thing. It's the fact that this line launched or helped launch an entire universe of movies.
That's so true.
Because when you walk away and the press is like, "Oh my god, he said the words," it gave us everything. Let's see, Kente says hello. Actually, it says hi. See there? Hi, Kente. And just so you know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but also a Jon Favreau joint.
Production.
Well, yeah, he directed Iron Man.
That's
as
right.
well as your elf. So represented twice on these lists so far, because Jon Favreau is, as you mentioned, the bomb diggity.
Indeed.
Kids still say that, right?
No, not really, but that's okay. We're indoctrinating them into old people speak, so it's all good.
That that reminds me, a kid saw my phone today, saw that it was a flip type phone, and said, "Wow, that phone is from ancient times." Ancient times. Oh man, that hurt. Anyway, so
like a good movie, however, everything that is
State Farm is there.
Everything that is old is new again. Talk about an iconic line. Everything that is old is new again. Where once we were listening to music on, like regular albums, records, all of a sudden now we are listening to music on, records. Crazy. So, don't throw out all your old tech, because it'll come back around. Hoard it like a good geek, and it'll come back into use.
So number 9 is Iron Man on my list.
All right. Okay. This next one is super easy, Josh. If you don't catch it, I don't know how you could possibly have had kids and not know this line. This line goes like this. And I gotta say, we use this all the time. Like, not even when it's time to do the dishes, when it's time to, whatever, this is what it is. But usually we change it up, and I'll tell you how in a second. The line is I volunteer as tribute. Tell me you don't know where that line comes from.
No, that's not the line I was thinking you were going to say at all.
Tell me where you think that line comes from.
That sounds like it came from Katniss Everdeen.
Yes, it's the Hunger Games.
The
yes,
Hunger
indeed.
Games, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Katniss, basically, this is what happens. I Volunteer as Tribute is the heartfelt cry of Katniss Everdeen in the first Hunger Games when her sister, who is quite a few years younger than she is chosen as the tribute for her district. And realizing that she will definitely not survive, Katniss puts herself into her place, into her sister's place. Now, the reason that this becomes so important is obviously Katniss goes on to win the Hunger Games, and it becomes kind of a big thing. When the districts are approached for the Hunger Games, there are two choices. One, someone can volunteer as tribute, or they can be chosen. If no one volunteers as a tribute, then there is a lottery and somebody is chosen. And so Katniss volunteering is such a selfless, incredible act of love and compassion for her sister that it goes on to just sort of like have really big implications. PETA being the other one from her same district. So, okay. The reason we use this iconic line all the time is because and we change it up to I volunteer you as tribute. So when somebody has to do the dishes, I say I volunteer you as tribute. Doesn't quite work the same way. I mean, it's not like I'm selflessly giving up chores so that somebody else can do them, but it does seem to work. Kind of adds a little bit of fun. Anyway, I do really love the Hunger Games, despite the fact that I think the books were quite a bit better. I don't know. There's something lost in translation without inner monologue in this particular series that's a little bit hard to get. But the Hunger Games was really fun, and at the time that the Hunger Games came out, I had younger kids that were, I guess I'd call them, teens and preteens. And they loved this entire series. This was the one of the first series that I think my entire family read all together almost at the same time. And everybody was, all sort of on the same metaphoric page as everybody else with what was going on. So it was kind of a big event in our house. But I really do like this movie. It's a great movie. So number 8 for me is The Hunger Games and the line I volunteer as tribute.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say right now that my number 8 just got added to the list just now
Oh.
because of something you said, which made me go, why didn't I add something to the list? It's not the Hunger Games, because that would just be weird and seem like I'm just copying your list, and we don't want that.
Yeah,
But
but I do understand why you would. I mean, come on. As far as list making greatness goes, I do know that I kind of have that in the bag. So don't be shy. It's all right. It's all right.
you do reach another level. You are elite list.
I'm
And you might
also I'm also incredibly humble, and yeah, I should just throw that out there too, because don't want anybody thinking that I have a big head or anything.
Yeah, that's definitely not something we want people to think it's true.
All right, lay it on me. What is it?
All right. This next list inspired by something Jen just said to be added to my list. It made me laugh thinking about it, and now I'm going to laugh saying it because it is a great line that I say frequently when the opportunity arises anyway. And that is, the dishes are done, man.
That is okay. Wait, I know that. That is okay. Wait, it's Kelly Bundy. It's don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
That is correct.
Yeah,
As they're using the dishes for skeet shooting.
that's
Dishes are
right.
done, man.
That's such a great movie. Love that.
It was one of those movies from the, early 90s that, overall just doesn't kind of jump out on the radar unless you've actually seen it at the time. It doesn't have that big time '90s movie feel than a lot of other films around the same time did. But you know what it was? It was a highly entertaining comedy starring at the time somebody that was just known for the one character on TV, right?
Right. Right.
And usually those don't. I mean, come on. The movie's called "Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead." It has a ludicrous title. Its biggest star is one of the not even I'd say primary lead. You know, one of the main cast members of Married with Children. But let's face it, the show was about Al.
It
So
was.
she wasn't even the major lead of her show, but she got this opportunity to be in a film, and it turns out this movie, this ridiculous movie, actually is done very well. The writing's solid, and the performances are surprisingly touching. So throughout, because it's in the title, uh, the parents have to go away for a while. They hire a babysitter. The babysitter dies like immediately, and they don't want to tell the parents because they'll just get another babysitter, and they're like, we're old enough to do this on our own. So
Mhm.
as she's becoming more responsible, transitioning into like a full blown adult, it's her younger siblings that are just taking this the whole situation as an opportunity to party and do things irresponsibly, and she's trying to, it's that trope where someone who was once irresponsible is now put in the position of being the responsible one and sees exactly how irresponsible they've been. So, they're learning a lesson, and she's trying to teach the younger siblings a lesson, and it's a good movie. It's a good movie. And just that whole scene where she tells them you need to do the dishes, and then you cut to them skeet shooting the dishes, off the porch. It finishes the last one. Dishes are done, man. And absolutely hilarious. A line that I still use to this day. So don't tell mom the babysitter's dead is my number 8.
Nice. That's a really good movie. I also, as a child of the '80s, I also really did love that movie. I mean, that was a great movie. Okay. This one I know you'll know because we've talked about it before. I actually bought my kid a T-shirt with this because we say it so often, and yeah, it is super iconic. Here's the line. You tell us who said it and in what movie. You're killing me, Smalls.
Well, character names, not
Ham. It's Ham.
Ham, but of
Yeah.
course it's the Sandlot.
Right. It's The Sandlot. 1993 was The Sandlot. Hamilton Ham Porter says, okay, so this is sort of the tone and the tenor of this movie. This kid moves to a community, and let's just say that he's not exactly with it. Not with it like the rest of the kids are who have all been hanging out together and,
He's an L7 square.
he's an L7 square. He doesn't know things, especially about baseball. And come on, everybody else knows everything about baseball. But he gives it the old college try, and every once in a while he comes up very short. And when he does, Ham is right there to say, "You're killing me, Smalls." Really love that line. Really love this movie. This movie, actually, in a really odd way. So, okay, so small background. I know I've said this a million times before, but one more time won't hurt. I used to do something called Kids Club over at the Four Seasons, and basically, Kids Club was I we had Kids for All Seasons. We went out on nature hikes. We, went to the beach. We go to the pool. We do everything in Hawaii that kids want to do when they're on vacation because mom and dad are out doing stuff on their vacation. So it's really fun. We had a great time. Every single day we would sit down for lunch, lights off, and watch a movie. And I have to say that this movie was one of the movies that came up as a request so many times. And this movie was 1993. You know, this movie has really held up. Kids still love this movie. Um, it has a lot of sort of kid logic to it that makes total sense if you're a kid. And as you get older, it's always good to go back and revisit that. Trust me, it'll make you feel good. So, my number 7, You're Killing Me, Smalls, The Sandlot of 1993.
You want to know something about that line?
What?
I hear kids say it to this day.
Isn't that great? I couldn't believe it when I found that shirt because I found it in Macy's, I think. And I mean, like, of all the places to find that shirt in Macy's, it was like super hilarious because obviously it's still relevant enough that it's still getting printed. So made me feel really good.
Yeah, I'm not sure the movie is as known, but the quote, that line is definitely one that is muttered amongst the teen and tween shows or
And
kids today.
and let's just say that the reason that it's You're Killing Me, Smalls, with a capital S, is because the kid's name is Scotty Smalls, right?
Mhm.
So his last name is Smalls, and that's why everybody calls him Smalls. So it's not like there's anything nefarious. They're not telling him that he's small or anything. That's just his last name. Just thought I'd say that. And
Well,
and and also this is in reference to, if you remember, this one is in reference to when he says, "Do you want s'more?" And
small
Scotty
what?
says, "S'more what?" And Ham goes, "You're killing me, Smalls." Like he doesn't know what a s'more is. So yeah, we feel your exasperation, Ham. We really do. We do.
Well, I'm just gonna say, you play ball like a girl and move on.
Okay, let's do it.
My number 7. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
I'm sorry, got a comment from the crowd here.
Oh, I thought this was another silent one. You're killing me, Joshua Shitty. Yeah. Well, I feel that on an everyday level, Kinte. So, yeah.
Okay, here we go. It has an expletive in it, so I am going to not say that.
Okay.
This is a family show. Here we go. Don't blank with the babysitter.
Another babysitter movie?
Yeah. It's just by happenstance that, they're next to each other.
Okay, this one feels like, if it's another babysitting movie. All right, this one maybe feels like, is it maybe Adventures in Babysitting?
It is Adventures in Babysitting.
Whoa, okay. Wow, I'm actually impressed that that's what that was the only other one. That was the only other babysitting movie I could think of.
Yeah, well, it's the greatest babysitting movie ever. For those of you unawares of what Adventures in Baby, and I don't mean that remake. No offense to the team that put that remake together, but it just wasn't. It wasn't it,
Honestly, yeah, it wasn't.
So this, this girl, she's hanging out at home. She's expecting to go out with a boyfriend. Emergency babysitting job comes up. She goes take the babysitting job. Her friend runs away and needs someone to pick her up from downtown. And while she's downtown, all sorts of stuff freaks her out. She just calls like, "Oh my god!" So they have to. The babysitter has to take the kids downtown, where they go on a series of misadventures. As Kente points out in the chat, yes, Vincent D'Onofrio as Thor. Uh, so yes,
Okay,
Vincent D'Onofrio's in it.
okay, that's actually pretty funny. Yes.
And you see the youngest child had a thing, not a thing, but was a huge Thor fan, right?
Yes.
Had the helmet, had Mjolnir, and was just all about Thor. So when they go to get the car out of Hawk, or it was Toad, not Hawk, Vincent
Impound.
D'Onofrio impound comes out with a sledgehammer, and the kid's like, Thor, and just a super cute moment happens, and this whole thing with you know you don't leave unless you sing the blues, and she busts out with a blues song just on the spot, uh, as they're being chased by criminals that are upset at one of the kids' friends that stole an adult magazine. But that magazine had some. You know what? I'm not going to do the whole plot. Point is, it's you would think for a movie that looks the way it is for the cast that it had, it would be super, saccharine, very sweet and friendly. But no, it definitely had some adult themes throughout, and that was the 80s, because kids took part in adventures that were not all super sweet and happy, but it does have some very um, nice moments of a family, a group of siblings, being able to come together even though they started out all bickering, and a great babysitter that did what her job was, and keep the kids safe. And I have to say, it's been a tremendous influence on me when it comes to you know priority number one when it comes to transporting kids.
Mhm.
So that's my number 7, Adventures in Babysitting, and it was a really good bit of advice as well as a threat. Don't f with the babysitter.
It's got a pretty kicking soundtrack, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My number 6 is I think you'll know this, and if you don't, I mean, you can quickly Google it. It's super short. And it's one of those movies that everybody loves to say that they don't like, but then everybody has actually seen it at probably at least twice. This particular movie is okay, here's the quote. Tell me if you know what it is. I wish I knew how to quit you. Said with more feeling, like, I wish I knew how to quit you.
That would be Ang Lee's Brokeback Mountain.
It is actually Brokeback Mountain. Um, I it is really hard for me to understand why people look at this movie like it's not the love story that it is. I mean, it's not. I say that, and then I, of course, I know why. It's because it's between two men, and of course, love stories between two men do not get the awe or the that hits me in the feels, or I get it, I understand, but the movie is so well done, and there's this quality to their love story which is so atypical of any kind of love story that I've ever seen, because it's not the kind of, boy meets girl, they have a whirlwind affair. It is about two people who are together and figure out that they are better together than they are apart. I mean, like, but despite the fact that, he's married, and there are things that happen in this movie that just sort of make you reevaluate what is love actually all about. And I Wish I Knew How to Quit You is just such a heartfelt moment that just encapsulates everything. Like, it's like somebody telling you, I wish I didn't care about you as much as I do, but here I am, small in the overpowering feeling that this has just thrown over me. And it's one of those moments, it's one of those lines that I cannot forget. It is always in my head whenever somebody says something about a romance that just makes me feel like, somebody, the writing in this is about people that cared about each other in a way that transcends other levels, and it's that good. So good job for guessing that. Brokeback Mountain, I don't know what else I can say about Brokeback Mountain. I Most people, even when they say that they haven't seen it, they have seen it. So I'll just say this is one of my favorite love stories, one of my favorite love story movies. So number 6 was I Wish I Knew How to Quit You, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah.
Alrighty, so I guess we're at my number 6. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. Yes. Your
Okay.
number 6. Your number
All right,
6.
my number 6 is going to be super easy. In fact, I think most of mine are super easy. My number 6 is, here we go. Crying? There's no crying in baseball.
Well, I can't imagine that that's not from A League of Their Own, but please tell me if it's not from A League of Their Own.
It is from A League of Their Own.
I knew it.
By Tom Hanks as Jimmy Dugan. I remember that. I remember his name very clearly because of what he wrote on that kid's baseball, which was "Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan." I think very excellent advice to this day. Now, what it means story-wise is, well, as if anybody could be unaware of this movie, especially since it was turned into an Amazon series for a brief period of time. I don't think it's coming back for a season 2. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. But during World War II, when all of the men folk were, off in, Europe and in the Pacific, fighting the World War, as it were, there was some open spots on the baseball field. And women filled those vacancies. And an all-women's baseball league was formed, and that's what this movie's about. One of the things is there were people that were very reluctant to kind of get on board with this, as the league kind of struggled in its beginning. And in the movie, the coach for the Rockford Peaches, Jimmy Dugan, is just not happy about his place in life at this point. He's sort of a raging alcoholic and just an all-around unpleasant person to be around. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't care about coaching women's baseball. He doesn't think they're there to play baseball. But as time goes on, he realizes that these aren't just, pretty girls out here throwing a ball around and swinging a bat. These are ball players. They're athletes. So when he sort of hurts one of the players' feelings, and she starts crying, he says, "That what? Are you crying?" Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball, and that, of course, makes her cry harder. The idea, I think, though, is that with this bit with this line, it kind of shows that he's saying you're an athlete. This is kind of his acceptance, his acknowledgement that he holds you to the level of the men as far as not only what you do on the field, but how you conduct yourself in the dugout, kind of deal. Um, it tells a lot about where his mindset is at this point in the movie when he tells her that there is no baseball players don't cry, and that is what you are. So it it made a lot of sense to put that line exactly where it was as far as his character development. And it's also one of those things where if you see anybody crying for any reason, you just bust out with, there's no crying in whatever you're doing, because it's funny. So that is why my number 6 is A League of Their Own.
Good choice, and also great line. Very good line. Well, my number 5 needs zero introduction. And in fact, I mean, if you didn't know where the original came from, because it's been parodied in a million different movies and in a million different contexts, you'd be forgiven. But I'm pretty sure that anybody who knows me knows that I would only quote the original. It is "You shall not pass." And I am 100% sure that Josh will know where that came from.
That is my 11th grade liberal arts math teacher.
Well, I don't know what kind of movie they were in, but
oh, right, movies. That is a Lord of the Rings movie.
It is a Lord of the Rings movie. It is the Fellowship of the Ring. It is the end of the Fellowship of the Ring. And if I could just say a tiny bit about this, because
you know a thing or two about Lord of the Rings, do you?
Yeah, I won't get too far into it, but I may have some Lord of the Rings tattoos on my body. Just throwing that out there. I guess that doesn't really make me a fan. That just makes me somebody who likes silly fantasy, I suppose.
It's a good place to have tattoos, though, on your body.
Yeah, I tend to. Well, otherwise they'd just be stickers, So there's that.
And you could have them on your cat. And that's just, I think that's animal abuse.
I think it might be. Yeah, they can't give consent, so
Right.
Plus, too, the fur. It just kind of obscures everything. All right. So "You shall not pass" it's a line, I swear, that everybody has or uses for just about everything. Whenever you want somebody not to do something, you say that line. And why does Gandalf say "You shall not pass"? Well, I love all the groups that I'm in where people talk about the Lord of the Rings, and we have people who don't know anything about the Lord of the Rings, and they'll come in and they'll ask questions that feel so silly, but then you realize they're not silly at all. These are just people that don't know anything about the Lord of the Rings at all. One of the things that happens at the very end of the Fellowship of the Ring is this creature called a Balrog comes out of the endless darkness of the place that they're trying to get through, which is called Khazad Dûm. And so they make it to this bridge, and the Balrog is on one side, and they know, well, Gandalf knows, that if they can get across the bridge, they're really close to getting out. But they're going to need a little bit of a head start. And so he stands basically in the middle of the bridge and says, "You're not going to make it past here." And like every good Balrog, of course, he, listens right away and retreats into the darkness. No, he doesn't. He makes a mighty show of telling Gandalf in his roaring, no uncertain, fiery terms, "Bring it." So, of course, Gandalf does. Uh, the bridge collapses, and the Balrog falls into nothingness, and of course has to grab Gandalf. So that brings me to probably my well, no, not my most. It brings me to another favorite one that, I won't say because then I would get two in one. But honestly, it's amazing because he gave him all that time. And what does all of the rest of the Fellowship do when they're watching him getting sucked down into the darkness by the Balrog? They just watch him like a bunch of, simpletons and fools. It's very silly. I always hated that. I always thought that the poor guy just sacrificed his whole life, and what are you guys doing? You're just sitting around watching. Anyway, "You shall not pass" is, I think, one of my favorite movie quotes of the Lord of the Rings anyway. I love it. We say it all the time, even when we're just passing in the hallway. So that's how geeky and dorky we are with the Lord of the Rings. So "You shall not pass," Fellowship of the Ring, said by Gandalf, and yeah, number 5.
Okay, so we're going to move into my number 5. And honestly, my number 5 has a lot of great lines. But unfortunately, I'm going to pick one that's going to make it really easy for you. But it is nonetheless a great line. So here I am, ready to deliver the line right about any time now.
Is this a Mel Brooks movie?
You know, I almost added some Mel Brooks movies, but I couldn't figure out where to go.
Well, "May the Schwartz be with you" might work.
Yeah,
Not quite as
and that was
iconic.
definitely, and I didn't know if I could just go with merchandising,
Spaceballs the lunchbox.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Goonies never say die.
Well, I mean, obviously that's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Ah, you got it.
You're right. There are a million really quotable lines in the Goonies. I completely agree. None of which are bad. They're all great.
Mm-hmm.
I completely
And
agree.
this one in particular, I chose out of all of them. I chose because it came when they were at their lowest. They were being chased by the Fratellis. They're losing their homes. The treasure just seemed an impossible task, a dream, if you will. And some of them were ready to just kind of give up and accept their fates. But not Mikey. Mikey said, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to lose hope. We're not going to lose faith. We're not going to lose our homes because we have the key. We have the answers. We just have to have the strength to find it. And it's a rallying call. It's something that I've said to myself over the years whenever things seem, more down or dour than usual, because sometimes you need the right words to lift yourself up. And I've always considered myself sort of an honorary Goonie. Not unfortunately, because I've never been near Oregon, let alone hung out at the Goondocks, but because of the idea that every day can be an adventure. As long as you have your friends and people that are close to you, and as you get older, you call them more of a, they're your support group, they're your team. And when you can tell, your friends, when you can tell yourself, Goonies never say die, and push forward, even when things kind of suck, it it helps just to have the right words. And I am incredibly grateful for the Goonies movie for giving those words to me to use throughout my life. And that is why it cracked my top five as my number five.
Nice. Also, again, not that I have a T-shirt for everything, but thanks, Loot Crate. But when Loot Crate was spitting out T-shirts all the time, I also have a T-shirt that says "Goonies never say die." So very good.
I had
Okay.
one, and then my kid stole it.
Oh, I know what Josh. Everybody knows what to get Josh for Christmas now. So you'll have like 20 of them.
And they'll all be stolen.
And
No, I kid you not. Just a quick side note here. I picked up some T-shirts a couple weeks ago. One Indiana Jones shirt, uh, a Sublime shirt, and I'm blanking on the third. But the point is, my 14-year-old says to me, "Enjoy them while you have them. I'll give you a week." I haven't
that's
seen
actually pretty
them
funny.
since.
That's pretty funny. Also, that's just when your kids move out, then you can get all your stuff back.
That's a thing that happens.
Yeah, because then your kids don't want to take it. They're like, yeah, no, it doesn't fit my chic aesthetic anymore. Okay, my number four. My number four. Okay, my number four I actually struggled with because I was going to say one line, and then I thought, no, you know what? I'm not going to say that. I won't use that one because I don't know. Although I think everybody would get it. I felt like it was. I felt like it was just too long, so I'm just going to go with the second one. The second one is. You ready? Get away from her, you bitch.
Okay,
Know which line that's from? Where's that
that
from?
is Ripley
It is Ripley.
from Alien.
Aliens, not alien.
You didn't hear
Aliens.
the S at the end?
Oh no, I did not hear the S at the end.
Must be
It's
my microphone.
aliens. It's the Marines go to save the colonists and end up all dying along the way. I love this movie. Aliens is one of my. I swear to God, Aliens is one of my favorite movies. I could watch this movie again and again and again. Um, but okay, this it brings up a really good question for me. One, do the xenomorphs understand English? Or was the xenomorph just reacting to Ripley's tone? Because if the xenomorph understood that word, I got questions. I got a lot of questions. But no matter what the xenomorph understood, clearly Ripley's tone said it all because when she comes out of her holding area, basically ensconced in this amazing cargo suit that allows her to move and carry things and also giving her a ton of more armor around her. She's sort of on a more equal footing with the mother alien. There's so many reasons that I love the fact that Ripley just turns into uh, not just like the best mom ever, but that she turns into such a lioness uh, when she didn't have to. She just, I don't know. I mean, she did just spend all that time rescuing Newt, but it always surprises me so much when characters go so far above and beyond what you think any person would, and somehow they still reach down and collect more. And that's exactly the way that I see Ripley. And part of why I love that scene so much. I mean, not just is it an alien on person battle that seems pretty well matched, but also it just feels like their ferocity and their intensity is absolutely matched. If you've never seen Aliens, oh my god, what are you doing with your life? Go see Aliens. It's amazing. And so that is my number 4 pick, with Sigourney Weaver as Ripley in Aliens. I love that movie.
Excellent choice.
Yeah, it's a great movie. You want to know what I almost picked?
What did you almost pick?
I almost picked, I say we should take off and nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Because I use that line all the time. But I realize that I'm probably the only one that uses that line all the time. So I didn't.
Okay. You ready for my number 4?
I'm ready.
Strangely enough,
Lay it
the quote doesn't have nukes in it, but the movie does.
Ooh, okay.
And the line, I mean, hopefully, if you watch movies, if you claim to like movies, and chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you definitely watch movies, you'll know that what this line is from. Here we go. Hasta la vista, baby.
Well, I guess it is in Predator. Commando. Oh no, wait a minute. What was it? Conan the Barbarian. Oh no, wait a minute. No, it's actually Terminator.
Could the judges would like you to be a little more specific?
Terminator 2.
Very good. Terminator 2, Judgment Day is the correct answer. And
sorry. Yeah, I just realized there's a ton of Terminators. I guess I should have been more specific.
The weird thing about Terminator 2 is not only the fact that, it's about a boy and his robot, right? It's a sequel.
The All-American Tale.
It's a sequel to essentially a sci-fi horror film that involved Arnold playing not the same robot, but the same model of robot, actively trying to kill this child's mother. And so to have a sequel where the robot is doing the opposite of that, and the kid not having a father figure is
wait a minute. Let's convolute this even a little bit further, shall we? Because it's not just that the robot is trying to protect the kid this time, as opposed to trying to kill somebody in the past. Both of those things, well, one of those things was done by Skynet, but then let's not forget that the Terminator was reprogrammed in the future to protect John Connor from the past. I mean, like, Terminator has so many paradoxes in it that it literally hurts my head to think about.
That's why we don't.
Yeah, that's probably really sound science, actually. It's a good way not to get a migraine.
Well, I mean, if you really want to get into it, let's see. John Connor sends his friend to the past to protect his mom, who then becomes his father, who then has to, stop that Terminator, but sort of does and doesn't. And then the second Terminator comes reprogrammed to do the protecting, but because John Connor doesn't have a father figure in his life, he starts bonding with the machine and trying to teach it how to be human, or at least a little cooler. So John Connor, the teen John Connor, teaches this Terminator, some cool phrases like "hasta la vista, baby," and that's sort of his kill shot on the T-1000. Although, you know what? Not gonna get any deeper than that. but the point is, it shows that this Terminator is kind of learning, as it were, sort of like Chat GPT. No, it's starting to use things in context, and so much like Chat GPT, it is now time to destroy it. So that's why Terminator 2 Judgment Day is my number 4.
I mean, that's a really good choice, and again, also, well, I don't know if T2 has as many. I mean, that's a good one, but the Terminator franchise has so many great iconic lines, which I really love. So good choice. Okay, my number 3 choice is one that needs zero introduction. In fact, I mean, I'm gonna say it, and I can't imagine that anybody doesn't know this line, and I'll tell you why I included it in my movie list as an iconic line. Um, and then I will also say something about this movie. The line goes, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." I feel like you could guess
That
where
is
that's from.
me every day,
Yeah.
or Gone with the Wind, one of the two.
Well, it works both. It works in both direct. I mean, it does work. Yes, it could work in your everyday life. It could work when you go to work. It could work when you, are at the gas station. It could work. It could work in any situation. But in this particular situation, because we're talking about movies, it is Gone with the Wind.
Keep forgetting
And
movies.
one of the things that this line really freaked people out with was that last little word called "damn." In today's speak, I mean, that might as well just, be any other word. It might as well be puppy. Could be anything. Damn does not have the same weight that it used to. Um, when Gone with the Wind came out, it really was. I won't say it was like offensive, but it was shocking. The fact that a man would talk to a woman that way, say that thing, and especially in a movie. I mean, it was, almost scandalous. Now, obviously, it's not quite as severe as it once was, but I will say that for Rhett to say that to Scarlett, and the idea that this is the end of the movie and that's his closing line is kind of telling about the entire Gone with the Wind saga. I have my problems with Gone with the Wind, as I think most people do, right? I mean, sitting here in 2023, looking back at Gone with the Wind with my current understanding of the world, there's some problematic pieces with it. But as a work of art, Gone with the Wind is fairly amazing in its scope, in its breadth, in its vision. Um, there are scenes in Gone with the Wind which I don't feel like we could even recreate anymore without just sort of like sticking actors in front of a heavy green screen. And they were able to do things with practical effects which are just astounding, even as I think about them now. And to sum the entire movie up, of this stormy relationship between Rhett and Scarlett and all the things that have transpired both between them and in the movie settings with "I don't give a damn" is just such a heavy punch to end a film that it kind of makes me wish that we made movies like this still, that weren't afraid to close the movie with something absolutely profound in its statement. Um, we really don't do this anymore. We really don't allow characters to just end where I think they just normally would end. But in this case, we get a severe authenticity. And some of it too, to me, is this idea when somebody says, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." It almost, people almost say it with a kind of like highbrow, you know, uh well, I won't say that it's like an elitism, but you know, there's this highbrow sense that people that you get when somebody says this, and I think anything is further from the truth. It is really just someone who has basically said, "I give up. I just give up. I have more things to do. You are not included in that. I don't care." Um, and I give the movie a lot of credit for having that vision, for having that the ability to end so well. So number three, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Done in Gone with the Wind. Excellent, excellent movie.
I have never.
What?
I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
You've never seen Gone with the Wind? Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
No judgment. No judgment.
I feel the judgment.
Mm.
It's
Wow.
seeping through the headphones.
That's incredible, though. I'm just really surprised. I really am surprised.
You know, it's there, and I just, it's like, it's long.
It is long. It is long. But I will say that Gone with the Wind is one of those movies that, like, if you're a movie buff, you kind of owe it to the movie genre altogether, just as a giant, cauldron, to watch it, because it has been so incredibly influential on so many movies afterwards that it's really worth seeing where some of these things came from. And also, like I said, they don't make movies like that anymore. They just don't. It's not really it's not possible to make those kind of movies anymore. For lots of different reasons. But it's great to go back and be able to see what was done and how it kind of all came together. I mean, I kind of feel the same way about this movie that I feel about Cleopatra. Like, I wouldn't just, jump to go grab Cleopatra and watch it necessarily, but I do watch it every once in a while because it is such a Hollywood history iconic film, and so much of what came after or was destroyed because of Cleopatra, it just has its place in movie history. So if you're a movie buff, you should definitely see Gone with the Wind. Definitely.
Well, I'll put it on my list of things to do, as I normally do after one of these shows, loading up my watch list. And I should probably get together with you and, go through the things that I actually have watched so I can tell you my thoughts on them.
Yeah.
But until then, how about we move on to my number three?
You are at number three.
Now, once again, this is one of those movies that, I mean, you kind of had to be there for it to be make an impact on you, I think. And as a movie itself, it's filled with just a lot of great lines, especially. God, there are so many lines. I'm still having trouble figuring out which one to put out there, especially for you to guess. So I am going to say that. Yeah, I'm gonna make it a short one. Need input.
That is Short Circuit and Johnny Five, number 5.
That's right. You know what? I'm not going to try to squeeze in a second one there, but yes, Short Circuit. Need input. For again, I always go back to, if you don't know what this is, and there's a good chance that some of you younger folks might not know what Short Circuit is, and you might be a little off put by Fisher Stevens' portrayal of an Indian man.
And it's rather cliche.
Yes, very much so. But I watched it again recently, and I'm like, it's still so. I mean, it's not like, but it's uh anyway. Um, number 5 is a robot from Nova, a sort of a member of the military industrial complex and arms creator, if you will. And they're having a big event to unveil their killer robots. And one of their killer robots gets struck by lightning and suddenly becomes self-aware. The question is number 5 alive? That's he inadvertently gets taken off campus and meets Stephanie, who at first believes he's an alien and befriends the robot, instantly believing it's a living being, even if it's not from this planet. And this whole thing ensues as Nova hunts him. We get great Steve Gutenberg stuff. It's I'm gonna say, other than Mahoney, this is like peak Gutenberg, right?
Yeah.
You realize why this guy was somebody during this time frame, because he is wonderful. So as number 5 is traversing the San Francisco surrounding areas, and you know looking around, trying to figure out kind of what's going on, trying to learn, if you will. It just keeps saying need input, so basically what he's saying is teach me, give me information, fill my programming with things that I need to know to live in this world. And as the movie progresses, more inputs given, and becomes more, not so much more sentient as much as just having more of a personality. And by the end, spoilers, I guess, we get introduced to his actual persona moving forward, and like you said, Johnny Five, as he just thinks number 5 is kind of dull. Need input is the line that sort of says it all when it comes to growing and learning and becoming the person that you are meant to be. And that is why that line and Short Circuit are my number 3.
Yes, he definitely has a thing about no disassemble.
That was
I very
going to
much
be
like that movie. I like it a lot.
that was on the list of things that I was going to say, but I was like, that and Johnny Five is alive. Okay, I got it in there.
Oh, they're all great. They're all great.
No
Okay,
disassemble.
my number 2 my number 2 is another movie that everybody knows. Everybody knows this particular line. This is another line that I actually have another shirt for. Thank you, Luke Crate. And I absolutely love to wear this. Even though it's too big for me now, I still wear it all the time because I still love it so much. Okay, the quote goes like this. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Can you guess?
That's from John Carpenter's The Thing.
It is not from The Thing, but I could see this being a John Carpenter movie. That's weird. Wow. I could actually see John Carpenter doing this.
It is, of course, Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride.
I honestly, I mean, I feel like this is so much more iconic than As You Wish, even though I absolutely love As You Wish, because I feel like that is absolutely the entire premise of the whole movie. But because so much of the movie is the revenge story of Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die, I have to choose this line. I just have to. Also, this is another line that we just regularly say for no reason. I don't even know why. We just walk around saying it as if, like, you know, if I've got chopsticks, you better be prepared. I am Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Yeah, licorice, same thing. I mean, anything basically that we could fashion into a sword, we all become Inigo Montoya. So, uh, I don't know what to say about the Princess Bride other than this is, I think, one of the most beloved movies, the most beloved sort of movie fairy tales that I can think of. It is so kid safe, but it's still super adult friendly. It's just kind of all the good stuff rolled up into one. This movie never gets old to me. I
Wait.
absolutely.
Does this movie have kissing in it?
You might not mind the kissing so much, but I can skip over that part. I can skip over that part.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah, also, the late great Peter Falk is just he's such a good I mean, I can remember watching this movie wishing he was my grandpa. So, and I had a pretty good grandpa too. So, there's something pretty magical is happening there. I really, really, really love this movie though. It was just such a good. I know everybody and their brother was out looking for this book afterwards, thinking that like it was some kind of uh sleeper hit that we all had just never heard of. Oh my god, we got to read this book because that to me is really the hallmark of a good movie when you can convince your audience that they need to read a book. uh yeah, that's pretty good. I also remember feeling the same way about the never ending story, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, number 2. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. From The Princess Bride. That's my number 2. I feel like this movie doesn't need a whole lot of explanation. I mean, it's out there. It's been out there forever. I just feel like everybody knows a little bit about this movie. So I'll save all of my oration for my number 1, which yeah, will be fun.
Inconceivable.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Are you ready for my number 2?
I am so ready.
Okay. Now, this one is going to be a little bit more obscure. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there.
Okay.
So if you don't get it, that's fine. I understand. It is my weirdness that allows it to be so high on my list. But it's
Is it from a movie that I would recognize?
possibly.
Okay.
I don't recall.
Okay.
But I have mentioned the movie on the show before.
If
so
it's
here we
from
go.
Clerks, I won't know it. Just throwing that out there. My
It
my
is not from
obligatory
Clerks.
it's my obligatory one-time shout out to Clerks.
I guarantee you that you will not find Clerks in this position ever. The line is, I'm a pimp, and pimps don't commit suicide.
Wow. No, I do not know that.
You don't know it.
Sounds like Starsky and Hutch.
No, but it means I win.
What is it?
It is Boxer Santaros, played by Dwayne The Rock Johnson in Southland Tales.
Oh. No, I never would have guessed that.
It is the line that has, well, other than John Lovitz using racial slurs, but it is the line that has stood out for me since viewing number 1. When Boxer Santaros, who is an action movie hero, but in real life he's kind of a bit, not necessarily timid, but he's very, he's got some stuff going on. He's got some insecurities, and he's kind of pressed about this whole thing, about whether or not he tried to kill himself. And that's when the everything falls to the side, and he just kind of rocks up, as it were. He becomes the action hero, and he's like, how does it go? It says suicide. I've never thought of committing suicide, and then it goes, I'm a pimp, and pimps don't commit suicide.
Mhm.
Now, in the context of the movie, it's him becoming the sort of emboldened person he needs to be, and like a lot of these movies that I've talked about and how they affect me specifically, it's also one of those lines, such like Goonies Never Say Die, where when things are at their bleakest, and you are given the choice of give up or get through it, sometimes you just have to say, I'm a pimp. Pimps don't commit suicide. And I'm not saying this as a literal you know uh, thing. Um, I'm just saying that whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling low, when you feel like you don't know if you have that extra oomph to get through whatever problem it is you're having, you have to remind yourself that you can and that you will, because uh, you're so awesome. Quitting is never an option. So that is my number 2, Southland Tales. I'm a pimp, and pimps don't commit suicide.
I was just looking to see if I had seen that movie, and you know what? I haven't seen that movie.
You
So that
haven't
might
seen it?
explain. No, that might
It was
explain
Richard
why.
Kelly's follow-up to Donnie Darko.
Oh, that might be. I was just adding this to my list because that might be why. Yeah, because I definitely haven't seen it. I feel like it was like one of those movies that like I meant to watch and then I didn't watch. So yeah, that is
It's
probably
really
why.
weird, the story of it, because um, back in the day, I don't know if you recall, but ain'titcoolnews.com was sort of a thing.
Hmm.
And they said, oh, there's this, the follow-up to Donnie Darko, Richard Kelly. It's not a sequel, but it's going to star The Rock and Sean William Scott and Sarah Michelle Gellar and John Larroquette and all these names, right?
Right.
And then it just kind of disappeared until I was in Blockbuster one day, and I was like, wait, a movie with a rock in it that I haven't seen. Oh, it's that. Why is it here? I thought it was going to get a big, release, and apparently, it there's some story about why it didn't get the play that it probably should have, at least considering the cast. Um, but I enjoyed it. It's not. I'm gonna say it's not universally revered, but it's a movie that I enjoyed very much.
Well, I'll definitely stick it on my list to watch because I feel like it has been on my list to watch, and I don't know why I never have, but I'll definitely watch it because yeah, I know I meant to.
Now I get to say it. I look forward to hearing what you think.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. In between my binge watches of all the shows that are on right now, and let me tell you, there's a lot on TV right now, so I have been very, very busy.
If only
Um,
we did a show about TV stuff.
with there's so much good stuff out right now. Oh my god. I mean, I know we're on 10 to 1, but let me just give everybody a quick Netflix update. Mike Flanagan did Fall of the House of Usher, and I watched every single episode in one binge sit. And it was mind blowing. It was so good. I mean, there is something in it for everybody. It was amazing. So, yeah, everybody should watch that. Okay, but that has nothing to do with my number one. My number one choice of in the most iconic line that I can think of in a movie, and the movie was another one of those. Everybody has seen this movie or knows about it. And if you haven't seen the movie and you like movies, you should definitely watch it because this is definitely a part of film history. The line goes like this: Toto. And if you don't know what I'm going to say right after this, you probably don't know the movie at all. I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. That, of course, was spoken by Dorothy in what movie, Josh?
The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz. And we're not talking about the jail either. Um, that's just a shout out to anybody who's ever seen Oz. Okay. The Wizard of Oz is a movie that again has incredible historic value. And there's a couple lines in The Wizard of Oz that I think are amazing, but this one I think people say more often than not without even knowing really that that's what they're quoting sometimes, or that they're quoting it without even knowing what's happening. Um, it's the phrase itself has started to morph into, we've stepped outside what we think is normal, and here's a circumstance that we feel like is maybe not the same as what we were in. It's just a little bit different. But I think that when Dorothy says this, she quite literally feels as if not on a metaphor level, but at a very serious, I'm not in Kansas anymore. This isn't the place that I know. This is someplace very different. And there's a kind of oversimplicity to what she says here that I think kind of defines the entire film, really. It is the we're not in Kansas anymore. We don't know the rules of this special world. We are definitely going to get into some trouble along the way. Um, it's truly an amazing line, which I love to hear when people do quote it. It always makes me feel good. Like, ah, yes, keeping the film history alive. So I won't say a ton about the Wizard of Oz other than just to say this is I think the Wizard of Oz has a rightful place in film history because it was visionary in a way that films at the time were not being as much, and it was very unafraid to take a lot of chances, and that made it work. Aside from that, just the story itself it's a great story. The Wizard of Oz is just a great story. I can remember being a kid when I saw uh an adaptation, well, the Wizard of Oz, but like, an edited sort of version of the Wizard of Oz. And I can remember being scared by the monkeys. I can remember being sad for the Tin Man and for the lion and the scarecrow. I remember being really upset that the witch had Toto. Like all of the emotions that you experience when you're a kid, they're no less for me today than they were back then. So highly suggest that you watch The Wizard of Oz. That's my number one choice, The Wizard of Oz. Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
An iconic choice.
Yeah, I really love this movie. Gives me lots of good feels.
So we ready for my number one?
I'm ready. What's your number one?
You don't know already?
I don't know.
You know what? I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Oh, really? Oh, is this the wrong day, Josh? Are we supposed to be doing something else?
Yeah. It started as a Wednesday show, and here we are. It's on Thursday.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Sorry, we won't even get into that.
No, but I did say that no, Clerks would not be my number two. That it would never be there because it's on my number one.
Of course.
What am I referring to him first? Referring to Clerks and
The
Dante.
movie.
He's talking about how he's not supposed to be at work today. And what happens? Well, everything happens. It's weird how so much stuff can just suddenly happen when it's supposed to be your day off. You got to go to a funeral. You got your hockey game that you were supposed to be off in time for, because if you're not here, I walk. That's not an iconic line. Well, to me it is. But throughout the movie, he laments that I'm not even supposed to be here today, as each of these things just keep happening to him. And well, I guess I can't really go on and on about Clerks once again on this show, because you all know how I feel about not only Clerks but Kevin Smith. Big heart emoji there. So Clerks, of course, is my number one. I made that vow many times. If I could put Kevin Smith at number one, I'm gonna do it. And once again, here we are. So Clerks, I'm not even supposed to be here today. Number one.
I don't feel like that was a bad choice for you, Josh. In fact, I kind of felt like that was coming.
I would
Okay, I got
so.
I got a question for you. Do you
Go for it.
have an honorable mention?
I've got tons of honorable mentions.
Okay,
I
I'm
had
going
to
to give you
delete a full list of honorable mentions.
Okay, I'm going to give you one honorable mention, and it's obscure. So only the people sort of like in my family or people that really love Monty Python will get this reference. But I love it because it just sort of it always makes everybody in my whole family laugh. The line goes like this: I didn't even have the salmon mousse. And out of context, that would sound stupid. But the context of this is Death shows up at at a dinner party, and they're kind of hipstery before hipstery was a thing, and they all say, "Well, how did we all die at once?" And Death turns and points his finger toward this moose-looking thing, and it's salmon mousse. And one of the ladies goes, "But I didn't even have the salmon mousse, and it didn't matter. Everybody was dead anyway." Anyway, yes, Monty Python. That is like one of my. I wish I could have added a Monty Python reference in there, but all the rest of mine were too important, so didn't get in there. What's yours? Give me an honorable mention.
Well, let's see. Pick one from my list here. Let's see. Okay, I think no. We talk about that movie almost too much at this point. So, and I'm not going to go with another Kevin Smith thing. So let's see. Okay, how about this? I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know that. What's that one?
That is Kirk Lazarus, played by Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Oh, Tropic Thunder. Okay. Oh, that was a good one. That was actually a good one.
There's a lot of good ones out there, and it's only unfortunate that we only cover our top 10.
Well, I mean, otherwise our podcast would last for, 19 hours. And so, yeah, we kind of usually try to keep it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, tonight we actually did pretty good. I got to say, tonight we did really good.
Yeah, crazy good. We haven't even hit the 3-hour mark.
I feel like we did great. We did really good. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to mention the movies for each one of our top 10 so that we don't have to do the entire quote, but if you want to, you can. But I'm just going to mention the movie because the movies are the most important thing.
Right.
So, all right. So my number 10 is Elf. My number 9 is Revenge of the Sith. My number 8 is The Hunger Games. Number 7, The Sandlot. Number 6, Brokeback Mountain. Number 5, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Lord of the Rings. Number 4, Aliens. Number 3, Gone with the Wind. Number 2, The Princess Bride. And number 1, The Wizard of Oz. So lay your top 10 on us, Josh.
Well, I will do that as soon as I pull it back up. Got a new new computer, and these newfangled operating systems. You know what I'm saying? Trying to. I gotta click
Congratulations
this.
on the new computer.
Thank you. It's it's a system. All right, here we go. My number 10, The Truman Show. My number 9, Iron Man. Number 8, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Number 7, Adventures in Babysitting. Number 6, A League of Their Own. Number 5, The Goonies. Number 4, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Number 3, Short Circuit. Number 2, Southland Tales. By the way, has a cameo by Kevin Smith. Number 1, Clerks.
I'm just going to say that this is another show where we had zero crossover.
And yeah, I find that interesting. I thought maybe there would have been one, but no, we are completely free and clear of crossover. And I think that is definitely going to change next week.
What's our homework?
Our homework. Do you know any contractors?
I have contractor bags.
Close enough, because you're going to need them as we talk about movies that break the fourth wall.
Ooh, oh, that's cool. That's super cool.
So,
ooh, I love this one.
We're going to be talking about breaking the fourth. That's, you know what, we can go into what that means next week, because why don't we quickly break the fourth wall and acknowledge the audience now and tell them where to find all of your wonderful countdown to Halloween stuff, Jen.
Well, you can find me over at moviesandmeals.com, and we're rotating out recipes kind of on a weekly basis. Some of them are, some of our oldies but goodies, but there are some new stuff there. You know what? I am seriously having a difficult time not tripping over my tongue. I'm so sorry.
It's been a minute.
We also have some new stuff that we have been adding, stuff that has come directly out of our kitchen just very recently. Really good and fun things. We've been having a great time making Halloween goodies in our kitchen this year. You can also find, I started a Countdown to Halloween podcast with just some scary, really kind of silly things to do in the kitchen with a little bit more of an explanation than you can sometimes get, because unlike most recipes for most blogs, I don't give you a whole story about my brother Jeb and our adventures at the wishing well before I give you the recipe. I just give you the recipe and talk about the movie. So on the podcast, I give you a little bit more about tips and tricks and things that we did when we were making some of our recipes to make them work a little bit better, and a little bit about the movies too. So it was really fun. I'm going to do one more before, or maybe two more before Halloween, and hope you'll join me for that. And how can we find you, Josh?
Well, I think the fastest and easiest way to do things is go to wadcomedia.com. That'll have all the appropriate links and information that you need to go to for the social medias, and follow them. And you'll be able to be updated on when we go live, and as well as, what shows are coming up, like tomorrow night, the Wadcast. What are we going to talk about? I don't know. It's not 5 minutes before air, and I'm not psychic. Haven't said that in a while because we've actually been uncharacteristically planning ahead, but we've also been uncharacteristically not doing a show. So it's been also one of those things where, a lot of life has been happening. And the last time you saw us, we had Trivia Master Sam from I Know Trivia give myself and Brandon a head-to-head competition when it comes to movie trivia. And, well, I think since the show came out 3 weeks ago, it's safe to go into spoilers. I am the champion. And yeah, I beat Brandon by half a point. Half a point. It was really close.
Good
what
job.
a contest it was. So go back and listen to that, even though I just spoiled the ending for it. It was still fun, a whole lot of fun. So the podcast tomorrow night, go to wadcomedia.com to get all of that information.
Sounds like fun.
And it sounds like we just did a show.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll get to see everybody next week. And I got to say, I'm actually kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of excited for next week's show. I think it's going to be very cool. And I'll bet there will be movies on this list that you won't even imagine actually break the fourth wall. So, yeah, can't wait for this. It's going to be exciting.
I think so too. A very fun topic to go through.
Good idea.
But until then, I guess really there's only one thing left to do. You know what that is?
I can't imagine what it is.
Say goodnight, Jen.